Hey, what's up, world? Today is Saturday, October 19th. It is about 3:40, 3:52. Um, so it's been a while since I actually posted a video, and I kind of neglected it. But here's what's going on. Okay, so I pretty much didn't see my truck for a week because what happened is I took my truck to a mechanic because I'm going 75 on the freeway and I was getting ready to. I was going to Chandler. I was getting everything set so that way I could get my garden stuff set up. Well, I guess that wasn't in the cards that day. So what ended up happening is I ended up stalling on the freeway. My car didn't get any gas or anything, and it shut off completely. Well, luckily there's enough of a gap for me to get through to the side of the freeway. Give me 1 second. So there was enough room for me to get to the side of the freeway. Well, what happened is I used Progressive for my insurance, and the lady on the phone couldn't hear me because of the traffic. There is no mobile app, so that way I could just pinpoint my location and just say, "Hey, I need a tow truck." Um, so I was actually on the phone with her for 45 minutes. It took an hour and pretty much an hour and 20 minutes for the tow truck to arrive, and I was kind of annoyed by then, but I was just like, damn it. I was like, come on. I was like, what am I going to do? So I towed it to the house. I let it sit there for a couple days. So that was on Tuesday, and then Thursday rolled around. I had it towed to the shop to get diagnosed. Well, I get it diagnosed from the shop. The guy says it's a bad fuel pump, which I just installed a new fuel pump the night before. So I was like, how could it be bad? And then he said the distributor, which I believe because what ended up happening is on the cap and the rotor, they the guy who put the engine in after it got messed up, he didn't tighten it up good enough, well enough. So what ended up happening is it came loose and everything. So I was like, shit. Um, so the distributor could be bad. I'm pretty sure that's the diagnosis. I'm not sure about the fuel pump, but what ended up happening is I talked to the mechanic and he got pissed off because I'm like, "Hey, I just changed this out. I don't believe that is the problem." And he's like, tried to belittle me by asking me if I did all these things, if I had all the tools and everything. I'm like, I have more than basic mechanic knowledge. So, I mean, it doesn't sound like a fuel pump because my last fuel pump pretty much was doing the same thing. So, what he's saying, two different brands and two different fuel pumps are experiencing low pressure. It's a possibility, but it's really rare. So what ended up happening is the vehicle ended up sitting in his shop from Thursday to Monday. Well, what happened is Friday I got in contact with him, and I was like, okay, I'll buy the part and we'll go from there. Well, he quoted me $225 plus the part, which was BS because right now he was charging me over $130 an hour for labor, and it only takes about 10-15 minutes to put in a new distributor. You just gotta make sure that the engine's at top dead center when you do that. So he tried to charge me for that. I'm like, you're doing 15 minutes worth of work. You charge me 100 freaking something dollars an hour. That's like $10 a minute. That's like 15 whatever. But the thing is, I was like, okay, I'm skeptical now. I gotta research this, so I researched the parts. But that day, I actually went to go pick up the parts, and then I went to work to go check on some mechanics to see if we had any more referrals. So what ended up happening is when I got to work, we were behind. We were pretty much 15, 20 tickets behind. So I was like, my boss was like, hey, I need you to come in early. I was like, oh, I was like, okay. I was like, I'll come in early, but I gotta leave for a little bit to take care of my situation with my truck, and I'm like, hey, that's the price you pay. I gotta come in early. I'm gonna take a lunch break so that way I can get my truck fixed, while my truck's set up. So what ended up happening is I couldn't contact him Saturday, and Sunday they closed. So what ended up happening is Monday, I guess he left a message. I got out of work. I got home by 9, and so I was like, you know what? His office is closed, so I'll deal with it Tuesday. I go in there Tuesday. I pay for the truck, and he writes down an address for my truck where it's located. And well, he gives it to me after I pay for it, and I'm like, "What's this?" He's like, "This is where your truck's stored." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Seriously?" And he's like, "Yeah, because you didn't get in contact with me. We moved it." I'm like, I didn't. I was really confused and angry at the time, so I wanted to control myself and not burst out. So what ended up happening is I left for a little bit, and then I called back, and I was like, "You know what? I want my truck back. I didn't give you permission to move my vehicle. I did not. You did not notify me that you were moving my vehicle, and if so, I would have contacted you right then and there. I just figured this was a matter that could have waited, so I want you to back my truck." He's like, "Okay," and he hung up on me. He was pissed off. Well, I come back in later on to take care of the situation and verify where my truck is, and my truck's still not there. Well, what ended up happening is he ended up telling me, I told him the same thing. I'm like, "I want my truck back." I'm like, "I did not give you the authorization to move it. If you would have called me, I would have been there, and I would have gotten that taken care of right then and there." What ended up happening after that was freaking crazy because I'm like, "You know what?" I'm like, "You want to play dirty?" I'm like, "I shouldn't have to pay for this because you moved it. You didn't notify me." And he's like, he just started laughing at me. But here's the thing. I told him, I'm like, "You know what? I'm going to contact BBB. I'm going to contact everybody I can just to get this issue resolved." So I I'm like, "Mike, you're playing dirty. You're playing dirty, and this is not right. You do not treat the customers like this." Well, I ended up walking out. I was pissed. I was like, "You know what? I'm not gonna pay for this." So I ended up calling him back because I realized that he said that I had to call him whenever I wanted to pick up the truck. So I called him back. I'm like, just to verify. I'm like, "Oh, I have to pick up the car, right? I have to let you guys know before I pick it up." He's like, "Yes." So what ended up happening after that? I know I keep repeating that, but hey. So after that, um, well, I called him, and then he didn't answer. So then he called me back 5 minutes later, and then he said, "You know what? This isn't how we keep our customers. Blah blah blah. This isn't right. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to tow your truck back for $20. You just give my driver $20 just to pay for gas." I'm like, "You know what? Whatever it takes to get my car back. But you know what? I'm not going with you again. I have a bad taste in my mouth, and it's not right that you treated me like this. Nobody should have to go through this." So our agreement was that he asked me what time I worked. I told him I have to be at work after a little bit after 11. So anytime between 8 and 10 is perfect. Well, what ends up happening is he never contacted me. Never contacted me. Never left a voicemail. I didn't receive a call or anything. So I wrote a letter to BBB. I wrote on Yahoo, and I was just dealing with that. Well, then I contacted Napa just to see if they can resolve the issue because it's actually a Napa auto care center. And so it's their name. I know it's not the mechanic who works for Napa, but it's kind of like a vendor and their name's on the building. So this mechanic is disgracing Napa, and I mean, what company wants that? So I tried to get a hold of them so that way we could see if we could fix this issue. So the issue did not get resolved. It ended up being worse. I contacted them, and then so the guy called me. I told him the story. He told me that our stories lined up. That there's really no difference in the story, so that's a good thing because we're both telling the truth. So I told him that, and he's like, "Okay." Well, I'm like, "You know what? I don't really want to contact Mike right now because I'm really pissed off, and I'm not gonna say I'm not I'm not gonna act right because I'm so pissed off." So the guy contacts Mike. Mike contacts me, and Mike calls me stupid. He tells me that I'm stupid for threatening them and saying because what I told them is, "You know what? I'm a customer of yours. If you guys can't resolve this issue, I will no longer use you guys." So I was like, "Okay." Well, Mike called me stupid, and he said it's a stupid decision because I because he spends a lot more money than I'll ever spend in my lifetime. Well, what I told Mike is like, "You know what? That doesn't matter to me. What matters is that you're treating your customers right. And either way, my company holds more accounts with your company with that company than you do. So that does not matter. And you know what? It doesn't matter. So I called this guy, Mike, has been trying to belittle me, intimidate me, and get me to roll over and just give up. The thing is that he messed with the wrong person. Obviously, I'm still here. Everything I've been through. This moving to Phoenix is not the best experience possible. But this is my first apartment living by myself, and I'm gonna fight for what I want, and what I need, and what isn't right. I'm gonna fight for. I'm gonna fight to fix it. So he called me stupid. He called me that. I called the AVP back of Napa Auto Care Center, and what ended up happening, I told him, I'm like, you know what? This is not how you resolve issues with your customers. This is not what you do. My customers, no matter what, even if they're wrong, even if we mess up, we fix the mistakes, no matter what. And there may be some things that we can't fix, but we do our best to fix them. And the thing is, I understand you're playing the middle guy, but the thing is that it rests on your company, and this is your name that's being tarnished. I'm like, you're obviously you made it worse, and this guy isn't mature enough to maintain a conversation without insulting a customer, and that's not professional, and that's not something that Napa should be associated with. I'm contacting corporate because obviously you stepping into the situation has made it a little bit worse, and I'm gonna get this issue resolved through them. So it turns out Mike called me 10, 15 minutes later after I started walking to the bus and getting everything set because, yeah. So I was late. I had to be at work by 1. I ended up getting there by 3. But what ended up happening is I got to the tow yard. I called the, the, the tow company. I use tow for less. And I called them. I let them know, hey, pick up my car. Well, what ended up happening in between that time is when the tow company, the mechanic actually owns the tow company too. So it's just funny because the mechanic has an ego issue with me, and it's just because he's not used to people standing up for themselves. So I looked at my vehicle. I noticed I lifted up the engine and I was like, "Where are the pieces?" My air intake tubing to my throttle body was gone. My cap was gone. My wires weren't connected. My fuse box was open with all the fuses pulled out. Um, and then I looked in the back. There's a whole bunch. There wasn't a whole bunch, but it's like someone was throwing crap in my truck. So you have pizza boxes, you have Subway, you have all that stuff. So that's what happened. Then my air tube, the intake tube from the box to the throttle body was actually in the back of the truck. I'm completely frustrated with this, and I'm just like, oh. So I called my credit card company. I denied this credit card charge. I explained to them exactly what happened and why he does not deserve my money. From what my understanding is, a diagnosis is diagnosing your car and putting it back together exactly how you found it. Well, my car wasn't put back together at all, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing bolts. So I'm gonna take him to court. I contacted the Justice of the Peace Court in Phoenix, so I'm gonna try to sue him. I've contacted Channel 3, Channel 15, Channel 12, Channel 10, and Channel 5. So I'm gonna see if we can put some pressure on him and shame him out, because this guy does not deserve to be in business if he's playing dirty. Oh, and when I towed my truck back, the neighbors, I don't even know them, but the neighbors like, oh, did Mike fix your car? I'm like, no. I'm like, he ripped me off. And they're like, oh, he's done that a lot of times. I could have told you that earlier. I'm like, oh my. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna talk to them and see if I can get a list of people who have been burnt by Mike, and see if I can actually prosecute something against him, so that way he can lose his mechanic's license and also his business license. So this guy hasn't messed with the right person, and he messed with the right person because I'm gonna make sure he gets in shape. Either he can fix his habits and correct him and be a good person, or I'm gonna make sure that he loses everything, that his business and his license. Um, Revenge sucks, and I'm playing a bad part in this, but I'm just gonna make sure he gets what he deserves, because nobody should be treated like this. So my truck's outside in pieces. I'm gonna have to get a price on how much it can be to put it together and how much it is to diagnose it. I have to actually get a real diagnosis because I'm not sure he gave me the right one. I'm pretty sure the distributor is the right one, but not the fuel pump. I asked him about the spider, which is the fuel injection system on the 4.3 Vortec, and I also asked him about fuel pressure regulator, which is also another key thing. But also you're looking at the intake valve kit, the intake gas kit. So I'm looking at a couple different things. The good thing is I don't really have to worry about my truck right now. Um, I can, what's it called? I can walk. That's a good thing. Work is 2 miles away. Um, that's the easiest thing. I have a place to sleep. I'm so happy that this happened after I moved in, because being where I was before homeless to now, I could not deal with this when I was homeless. I would not know where to put my truck. But Mike refused to bring back my truck. He refused to give me the quality of service I deserved. Even on his page, it states exactly what kind of service he provides, and it's completely different from how I was treated. So I'm going to take him to court. I'm hoping that news channels get a hold of me, and BBB resolves this as well. This guy does not deserve to be paid or be in business because he did not finish his job, and he gave me the runarounds and he moved my truck. I got to figure out if the truck was moved illegally or not, because in the state of Arizona, I'm not sure if that's illegal to move someone's property if it's on a mechanic's property. So we'll go from there. This is not the first time I had an issue with the mechanic, but the last mechanic was actually not a certified mechanic or like a licensed mechanic. So pretty much he went off and ripping people off. So I couldn't report this one stolen at all. So I don't know. But you know what? You guys have a great day. That's just a recap of what's going on with my truck. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks, once my finances get back up, because moving into the apartment, taking my money, um, just a lot of stress. I haven't been getting back to anybody. But I hope everything's going well with you guys. Keep keep your head up no matter what. It may be challenging, but it's well worth the fight. And to try to find people who are good and who want to be a good influence in your life are important. So maintain a good attitude and try to avoid the revenge tactics. But just try to avoid being angry and try and avoid stress as much as possible. It will tear you down, and you don't need that in your life. So I'm hoping that once I get done with this, I can wash my hands and forget about it. The bad thing is I live down the street from him, where his shop is. So I'm hoping that there's a shop close sign in the next probably 6 months. But I don't know. But you guys have a great day. Hopefully everything's going well. I hope you guys do something fun for Halloween. But you guys take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Oh, YouTube videos are no longer having music in them. I have no idea what's going on with the copyright infringements, but a lot of my old videos have been deleted or something. It says videos unavailable, and it's been saying that for the last month. So I have some kind of music playing in the background, but nothing too loud. So hopefully nothing happens with this video. So you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Again, it is 4/11, and it is October 19th, 2013. Take care.